Welcome back to Harbaugh. Obama has pulled 6 points ahead of Hillary Clinton in Iowa, according to the latest Newsweek poll. But with 3 weeks left to the caucuses, can he hold or even widen his margin? Is the Hillary campaign due for a shakeup? And can Senator Edwards survive if he loses in Iowa? Big questions for our three big guys. Come and join us right now. David Axelrod is chief strategist for the Obama campaign. Joe Trippi, senior strategist for the Edwards campaign. And Mark Penn is the senior strategist for the Clinton campaign. Gentlemen, you are the big shots. You are the star fighters of this coming, in fact, new century. Let me ask you, David Axelrod, are you satisfied with the explanation from the Hillary Clinton campaign that the comment by Mr. Shaheen about drug use by your candidate was not something coming from the top?
Look, I have no way of knowing that. They say that, and we have to accept them at their word. I'll say this, Chris. When you launch a negative attack and you say that this is the fun part of the campaign, you send a signal down the line to others in the campaign that leads to this kind of thing. And so whether or not there was an instruction to Mr. Shaheen, I think it's important that a signal gets sent right from the top of the campaign that this isn't encouraged, that it's not the fun part of the campaign, that we ought to be lifting up this country instead of trying to tear each other down.
Are you serving notice by your comment right now and your comment in the spin room that any further negative attack or suggestion by one of the Clinton people will come from Hillary?
Barely hear you.
Well, I'm not suggesting that, Chris, but I will say this. Unless there's a strong, consistent signal from the top, unless we refrain from saying things like negative campaigning is the fun part of the campaign, you're going to have that happening. It's a sort of a wink and a nod thing. Everybody down the line says, oh, well, this is what this is about. So I would think that it would be important for all the candidates to send a strong signal to their troops that this isn't where we're going to go with this campaign. We're not going to take it into the gutter.
Mark, given the fact that this has reached into the spin room today, and there are several questions to David Axelrod about whether his candidate, Senator Obama, has in fact shared or sold drugs, do you expect the Republicans to use this against the Democrats no matter who wins the election, the nomination fight, I should say?
Oh, I don't know. I think, though, I'm very disappointed by David's comments. I mean, you know, he's trying to rewrite history here. It is his candidate, Senator Barack Obama, on the front page of the New York Times, that called Senator Clinton disingenuous. He started a wave of direct, personal, negative attacks. And the senator finally began to reply very substantively that his plan leaves out 15 million people, whereas hers covers every single person. And he kept bringing up an Iran vote that he, in fact, skipped. So I'm really disappointed. I think this thing with Billy Shaheen, he's stepped down. He was never a part of this campaign.
Did you tell him to step down?
The senator made that clear.
Did
no,
you tell
he
him to
stepped
step down? It took 24 hours for him to do it. Do you think he did it in time to stop this from becoming a story?
I think the story's over. I think we made it very clear yesterday that we didn't condone it. We weren't part of these of the story that he went on with, and we absolutely apologized. And the senator went on the tarmac of the airport as we were all coming down to this debate and apologized personally, because this is not part of her campaign. And I think it's very important. She has been running a year-long positive campaign in which she's out there talking about ending the Iraq War and health care for all.
These comments that are coming out of your campaign from different directions, and I'm not sure how they're coming, and nobody does, but going after his perhaps youthful drug use, which he admitted in his book, and going after comments he made as a student, as a kindergarten student at the age of 5, I should say, do you think those are appropriate shots at the opponent, or are they below the belt?
Well, I think we've made clear that the issue related to cocaine use is not something that the campaign was in any way raising, and I think that's been made clear. I think this kindergarten thing was a joke after Senator.
Did it again. He just did it again.
This kindergarten thing after what the senator did.
They just literally.
Excuse me,
Bill. No, Mark. Excuse me. This guy's been filibustering on this. He just said cocaine again. It's like.
I think you're saying cocaine.
No.
I don't know.
I think you're saying. I think there's something wrong.
Okay, Joe Trippi's turn.
No.
Joe Trippi's turn.
What's happened? No, look. The person who won today was John Edwards. Why? Because he's speaking to the frustration of Americans about something that's going on. How greed's taken over Washington, his stopping health care from happening, stopping trade deals that go through that talk about corporate profits. He was talking about real stuff that is really affecting working people here in Iowa who are frustrated and worried about their jobs. While we listen to this garbage that's been going on for a couple of days now, it needs to stop. And I agree with David.
Are you going to slip
on that.
ahead? Let me ask you this.
We can agree on something.
Guys, you all know the history of Iowa caucuses, and it could be that you're the campaign that slips ahead when the other two are fighting in the gutter, as somebody put it. If the campaigns of Hillary Clinton and the campaign of Barack Obama involve themselves in what the senator from Illinois said as a kindergarten student, and whether he used drugs or shared them or whatever, doesn't that allow John Edwards to sneak by both of you guys? Mark
I think it's not what it's not.
Wait. Let me answer your question first of all. Look, we all know that Senator Obama raised this question about whether or not there was a 20-year effort to become president. That he actually launched an attack. This kindergarten thing was something that was a joke at the end of a long research document. It was not meant to be taken seriously. What was serious was that Senator Obama said his being, age 6 to 10 was in Indonesia was a qualification for foreign affairs.
This again. This is amazing.
Again, let's set the record straight, Joe. Let's set the record.
Every day they go out and prove. Every day they go out and prove that their status quo candidacy is not about change.
David Axelrod, I want to ask you a question. Do you believe that you're a victim here? Is your candidate a victim here of a series of attempts to try to diminish him by going after his ambitions as a 5-year-old, his admitted drug use as a kid, as a youngster, a younger person? Is this an attempt to try to bring him down to size so the Clintons can beat him?
Well, look, you'd have to ask Mark what the intention was. I'll say this. I think, first of all, Mark says it was a joke. It's still a press release on their website, and it wasn't that good a joke that it should be there 2 weeks later, Mark, so you ought to take the press release down. Secondly, he said that Senator Obama said that Senator Clinton was disingenuous on some points. I think that's a lot different than suggesting that someone's a drug dealer. Look, I think people are not interested in what Senator Obama said to his kindergarten teacher or his indiscretions as a teenager. They're interested in their own kids, the future of their kids, what's going to happen to this country, and that's what we're trying to address. This isn't a situation where two campaigns are fighting. This is the sound of one hand clapping, and the hand is the Clinton campaign.
Mark?
David, again, started a series of negative attacks. You did it in the debate. But let's go to where we are right now. I think you're exactly right. The voters want to hear about the strength and experience to make change happen. That's the senator's message. We've run a positive campaign. We've put out our issue positions on ending the Iraq War, on universal health care, on retirement security. And that's what this campaign is going to be about. Who has the experience? She's ready to be president. Look, let's go to today's debate. A great debate, a very positive debate. She very clearly knew day one what she would be ready to do as president. And I think that was absolutely critical in terms of what the voters are looking for. I think the rest of the country.
I want to go to Mark, and I know everybody to respond. Mark Penn, it seemed to me in that Philadelphia debate at Drexel University, something happening during that debate, because immediately afterwards, you or somebody went after the moderator, Tim Russert. Then the campaign went after the other participants, and then you went after the independent groups. It seemed like something went wrong in your focus groups or something that showed you were in big trouble, because otherwise I don't explain why you cried so loud in pain after that one night of maybe a B performance by your candidate. What went wrong that night that caused you to change your strategy from a front runner of confidence to somebody scared to death?
Really, the change was not in us. The change was that both Senator Edwards and Obama went negative. Clearly so. Senator Obama announced on the front page of the New York Times he was going negative.
There's absolutely
and they went negative on that debate.
No one who's watching any of this believes that. We all know what's happened here.
Well, come on, Chris, you got the tapes. Replay them.
Today, what happened was one candidate spoke to the frustrations of working people who are worried about job loss, about their children's future, and that was John Edwards. And we're going to keep campaigning against the greed that's going on in Washington while the Clinton campaign continually does what it does, which is to basically say it's a status quo campaign that has, there's nothing about change in that campaign.
Okay, I want you to start,
Joe.
Joe, I want you and then Mark, and I want David to answer this simple question. If you had complete control over the American media, all of us, all the way from now to the vote on January 3rd, what would be the one sentence you'd like us to repeat over and over again about your candidate? What's the one thing you'd like to hear again and again echoing about, in your case, John Edwards, and then each other strategist, tell me what the one thing you want us to all to know? Because you all say we don't really know your candidate, the public doesn't really get you. Okay, what is the one thing you want us to know?
That this is the campaign that we believe this is a great moral test for our country to stop the greed that's happening in Washington. Okay. That's really stopping working people and their frustrations for making this country the better one and passing it on their kids.
Okay, Mark Penn, the thing we should know about Senator Clinton between now and the vote, what's important for us to concentrate on about her?
Look, I think if you're looking for a new beginning in this country, if you're looking for change, then you ought to, and you're picking a president, you ought to take the candidate with 35 years of strength and experience at making change. She's the one who will deliver for people.
Thank you. And who's left? David Axelrod on Senator Obama. What's the most important line? If you could put it into our foreheads and walk around with it pasted to us, what would be the message you'd like to hear from every one of us? Because I hear the one.
Look, Chris,
one is going after, one's populist and one's experience. What's yours?
Well, the reality is if we're going to really bring change, and change means solving some of these problems that are bedeviling people here in Iowa and across the country, we're going to need a president who can get us past the food fight of the last 20 years, bring this country together, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, push back on the special interests, and level with the American people about the challenges we face. And Barack Obama has a history of doing that.
Okay, thank you, David. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mark Penn. You are the masters of the universe. Up next.